Run reset operation. Alright, on to the next one.
Late one night in the bowels of Freddy Fazbear's sister location, a technician performs maintenance on Funtime Freddy.
What the hell is a vocal mimic?
Sadly, the man would greatly underestimate the capabilities of the animatronic.
Run command! Oh my God! What the hell?
Parental figure identified from database.
What is going on?
Hello.
What the hell?
Honey?
Mom? What is this?
I love you.
No, this isn't right.
Please don't resist.
What? What do you mean by
Please
that?
don't resist.
I don't understand what's going on!
Late one night at Fazbear's Frights. A man walks the halls of Fazbear Frights, a haunted house attraction based on the dark history of the now infamous franchise. As he passes a fenced-off alcove on the right, he hears the servos of an animatronic spin to life.
Come a little closer, child. Let me stuff you in a suit.
The man glances around nervously, but he's greeted by nothing but darkness. As he turns back to Springtrap, his flashlight begins to flicker. He's able to get it working again, but when he looks up, he finds that the animatronic is gone. The door behind Springtrap opens, revealing the puppet, and... Look, puppies. Subscribe. Subscribe to Theft King for the puppies and kittens. When we last checked on Battington, he had just released Late One Night at Fazbear Frights, a terrifying continuation of his FNAF VHS series, and the first fully original entry since deviating from Squimpus McGrimpus's original series. Unfortunately, Battington's channel would be hacked and taken over by the same scammers who got Fusion Z Gamer's channel a few months prior. You know, the Tesla Live guys. Fortunately, Battington was able to reclaim his channel, and the uploads have continued as normal. Even better, we've gotten the debut of Battington's toy animatronic designs, which look awesome. So before today's main feature, let's check in on the episodes that Battington has released since I last covered the series. Also, if you aren't caught up with Battington's FNAF VHS series, check out this video I made, it'll get you right up to speed. After Fazbear Frights, Battington would release Motion Detected in Cam 4, which shows Toy Bonnie moving through the party room from the FNAF 2 location. We see him flicker throughout the room a bit before... The video cuts to a close-up of Bonnie's head before the animatronic begins to sing in a robotic voice.
Keep on the way inside. He's hiding in the shadows. Keep on the way inside. He's hiding in the shadows.
What a great song. In Skinnamarink-a-Dink-a... Oh my god, f you Battington. In Skinnamarink-a-Dink-a-Dink, the Toy Freddy model debuts, and it's really horrifying. Whoever is holding the camera appears to be familiar with the animatronic, because we hear what I assume is Toy Freddy whispering. We see an old CRT television playing a Fazbear cartoon before. Did you see it? Right as the camera cuts, for a brief moment, the silhouette of a head is visible. Finally, we hear the puppet's music box song as an image slowly fades into focus. Next, we have an update for the incident logs, ReachAnimations' excellent FNAF VHS series. If you didn't see my video covering it so far, check it out, I put a card right here. If you watch that, you'll be totally caught up, other than this latest episode that we're about to look at. Season 2 of the incident logs ended with the SWAT team's failed attempt to destroy the Funtime animatronics. With Ennard having escaped and heading towards Adrian, the detective makes a badass final stand, trapping the animatronic in the room with him and blowing himself up. In the first episode of the next season, we see new Fazbear employee Stephen Gray performing maintenance on Chica. When he goes to repair the animatronic, Bonnie leers over him, but in a shocking turn of events, he doesn't actually do anything to Stephen.
Alright. Gotcha, little bastard. Alrighty. Let's get this thing going, and we are off to home sweet home.
He finishes work and goes home. Good on you, Stephen. It's very rare that someone survives a FNAF VHS episode. You should be very proud. After his shift, Stephen calls his girlfriend Rachel and actually seems really excited about the job, though he notes that he was the only one there other than the boss, Jake. Rachel comments that it's a little weird that his boss left him all alone to test the animatronics on his first day, but Stephen writes it off.
I was surprised he trusted me to do all of that. I mean, it's my first day. I guess I'm a trustworthy guy.
Sometime later, it's Stephen's night off and he's preparing to go out on a date with Rachel. However, at the last second, Jake calls, explaining that the other guard didn't show up for their shift today and that someone needs to come in and run Foxy's maintenance routine to ensure that he's ready for the stage tomorrow. Stephen is really hesitant. He has plans with his girlfriend and he doesn't want to disappoint her. However, Jake insists that he could be done in as little as a half hour. It's just the same thing he did last time, but only for Foxy. Stephen begrudgingly agrees, and he calls Rachel to push their date back an hour before heading to the restaurant. When he arrives, Jake is out of breath, which is weird.
Thank you for coming in, Steve. Really, man, I appreciate it.
Tell me what I gotta do, man.
Stephen seems annoyed and just wants to get on with it. Jake leaves Stephen to perform Foxy's maintenance routine, insisting that he not be disturbed while he's in his office.
I'll be in my office for now, but please don't interrupt. I'm conducting very important business right now.
As Stephen initiates the routine, Pirate Cove's curtains part and Foxy emerges.
Check routine. Foxy. Before your meeting, welcome aboard the Pirate Cove. The name's Foxy. And while the rest of the band is away, all you landlubbers are gonna join me in hunting some booty.
According to Stephen, Foxy's routine is throwing multiple errors.
Well, aren't you just a personality? I can see why they needed the diagnostics run. You and my friend are getting several console issues. I wouldn't be surprised if it walked off the stage and actually started talking to me.
After noting down the issues, Stephen goes to complete the routine and shut Foxy down when he hears someone shouting from down the hall.
Ridiculous. Our delivery was supposed to be next month. I told you I cannot get them to you by next month.
What the hell is he yelling about?
Recognizing Jake's voice, Stephen becomes curious, and despite the warning from earlier, he heads down the hallway and begins to eavesdrop outside the office.
No, that isn't how that works. Look, you and I know very well the goal of this place. Ever since the damn agents found out about me and Henry betrayed me, we've needed to lay low. We cannot have anyone knowing about our intentions here. No one. I don't care about the employees. They know nothing. If anything, they will help shield us from the law until we are really in the clear. Steve? I'm not worried about him. He doesn't look in the back, and the corpse smell doesn't go past. If I need to dispose of him, I have plenty of other people that want to be hired.
Stephen has heard enough. Jake has just mentioned the smell of corpses and even floated the idea of murdering him should he stick his nose where it doesn't belong, which happens to be exactly what Stephen is doing right now by eavesdropping. We hear Jake finish the phone call and Stephen snaps back to reality.
This guy's crazy. Rachel was right. She knew there was something going on here. Alright. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I need to get the hell out of here. Gotta tell Rachel. No, the cops. We gotta hear about this.
He flees down the hallways and into the dining room, but he very quickly realizes that something is wrong.
Wait. Where's It's the fox.
You're not supposed to be here. Let me help you find a way out.
Desperate to escape the patrolling animatronic, Steven grabs a can off the floor and throws it, distracting Foxy. With the pirate fox looking the other way, Steven runs to the exit, but when he reaches it, he finds the door is locked.
Come on, door. Oh my God! Open! Jesus Christ!
It's been quite some time since I've seen a scallywag to TV shows. I just want to live. Please don't hurt me.
You see, Steven, if you would have just left like I told you to, you wouldn't be in this situation. Now tell me, what did you hear from that phone call?
I didn't hear anything. I swear.
You liar! You heard me talking about those kids, right? I know you did. My boy, I have cameras for myself around the place too.
Please. Please, I won't say anything. Just let me go. Please.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that, my friend. You heard something you weren't supposed to hear. Steven, this action can't go unpunished.
Please. No.
I can't have you destroying everything I've built. It's not your fault your curiosity got the best of you.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, it kind of is their fault.
But please don't interrupt. Kill him.
You should have played by the rules. Foolish lad. Enjoy your time with Davy Jones.
Whoa, brutal. By the time 10:35 rolls around, Rachel still hasn't heard from Steven, and she's getting tired, so she cancels their date.
Hey Steven, I hope you're doing alright. Listen, let's try and plan something tomorrow after your shift, okay? Call me when you get home.
However, when he still hasn't called back nearly an hour later, she begins to get worried.
Hey, starting to get a little worried about you. Please call me as soon as you can, baby. I miss you.
At nearly 1 in the morning, Rachel still hasn't heard back from Steven, and she's in a full-blown panic.
Steven, I don't know what you're doing right now, but I am so worried about you, baby. I haven't heard anything from you in hours.
She gets in her car and begins to drive towards the restaurant when she receives a call. Exactly how she received the call isn't clear because people didn't really have cell phones back then. Maybe a car phone, whatever. Whoever it is though, they seem to know Rachel's name as well as her missing boyfriend's predicament.
My name's Henry, by the way. Henry Emily. Right now, your significant other is in grave danger.
What? Steven?
The man running that establishment is a murderer and a coward. And my former friend, Steven, is in trouble. With that said, I need your help. I need you to get a job at that restaurant. The same one as Steven. I need you to help me put a stop to
changed?
That's not his real name. His real name is William Afton.
A service technician enters Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and flicks on the lights, revealing Bonnie on the stage. Approaching, he activates the animatronic and initiates a movement test, and for perhaps the first time in FNAF VHS history, nothing goes wrong with Bonnie.
Yeah, everything seems to be working great. Holy!
An adjacent door is thrown open by an unseen force, startling the technician. They go to investigate, and for a second we catch a glimpse of someone glaring from around the corner. The technician doesn't seem to notice though, and he returns to Bonnie. You see, the pizzeria has been struggling with reports of strange activity surrounding the animatronics. A few weeks prior, another employee went to perform the same test on Chica.
Apparently, when you activate her, she will act weird.
Upon activating the animatronic, only her head is operational. The rest of her body appears to be malfunctioning.
She only moves her head.
As the technician continues their evaluation, they begin to hear whispers ringing out from the darkness.
Yeah? What? Hello? Hello? Weird.
When they go to check back on Chica, they find that she's changed positions, causing the technician to remark,
Chica? Okay, I understand what they mean with acting weird.
We get a glimpse of the victim, presumably trapped within Chica before.
Chica, stop. Chica, no!
With Chica being haunted, it's no surprise that Bonnie is as well. The technician, however, doesn't seem to notice the skeleton that slithers out of Bonnie, and they continue their testing. Distracted yet again, this time by flickering lights, they head to the back room to investigate before the power cuts out completely.
What the hell is going on here? Stay away.
Okay, I can't play the audio for this next part because I think it'll be demonetized, but it's so funny. I'm sorry, it's just so funny. You have to hear it. The guy just curses up a storm in this crazy high-pitched voice, and it's just... Watch the original video after this, there's a link in the description. Escaping the building and fleeing to his car, the man desperately tries to start it without any luck.
What the is that thing? Turn on, you piece of junk!
At the end of the video, we see 4 missing person posters, but these don't correspond to children. All of them are in their late teens or early 20s, and considering that they were all last seen at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, it's safe to assume that these are the restaurant's employees. Springtrap opens his eyes to find himself staring at the back of a man's head. A man in a purple suit. When he turns back, the man is now staring at him, his face censored from view. As Springtrap backs away, so does the man. It's almost like his reflection staring back at him. He turns and sees 3 children. His children. Michael, Elizabeth, Evan. What have you done? Why me? Look at you. Springtrap turns, but this time his reflection stares back at him, grinning an impossibly wide smile and brandishing a large knife. We pan between each animatronic in an homage to FNAF 2's Internight cutscenes. With each iteration, the animatronics fall into further disrepair before we cut to a shot of Springtrap and the marionette. Furious at Afton for his crimes, the puppet turns to Springtrap and... What? I can't pretend that that wasn't hilarious. It's just so out of place. This whole thing is creepy, and then out of nowhere we get this Looney Tunes moment where Springtrap is just like, talk to the hand, bitch. Afterwards though, the scene becomes quite creepy with the broken, dilapidated bodies of the animatronics appearing around Springtrap one by one. Finally, we see the Spring Bonnie suit writhing in agony in a manner akin to Golden Freddy at the end of Ultimate Custom Night. The tape ends with Springtrap crucified amidst a sea of flames, burning for eternity. Several young children have gone missing. Their last known location? Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Okay, I'm sorry, that woman is not 10 years old. That woman is not 14 years old. Also, only a $1,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of a missing person? Life is cheap around here, apparently.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Fazbear Entertainment. We are the creators of the safest place on Earth. That's right, it's your long and beloved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. A magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. Come on, let's take a look inside. Wow, look how fun they're having. Oh no, looks like someone's left out. Would you look at that, the kid's friend is coming.
Wait, that's not...
Okay, that was awesome. That was a good jump scare. Robert Nelson is instructed to search Freddy Fazbear's, photographing anything out of the ordinary. As he moves through the basement, he takes several photos. The man stands in one particular hallway before remembering that he's been instructed to snap exactly 7 photos in each room. Seems like a weirdly specific number, but whatever. As he snaps each picture, nothing seems to be happening, but when he goes to examine the resulting photographs, walking through the iconic party room, Robert finds that the door is locked, and after taking a deep breath, he kicks it down. The missing children, the victims. 8 bodies in total were found during a police investigation in the abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. According to police, the bodies are at most a few weeks old and that undoubtedly a murderer is on the loose. It was traumatizing to find them like that. All the missing people in the same room, all of them had been forcefully stuffed into the mascots of the restaurant. Whoever did these terrible things must still be nearby, so stay safe as we're currently on the search for this monster. Jack Jackson. Wait, Jack Jackson? What kind of name is Jack Jackson? Nobody's named Jack Jackson, come on. Jack Jackson, James Brown. James Brown. Thomas Miller, Willie Wonder, as well as the 4 missing kids, Victoria Williams, Amy Evans, and were found stuffed into the mascots. Our love and support goes to their heartbroken families. However, there was one animatronic the police missed. They found them. How could I let this happen? I can't let them get set free. They shall stay here with me, burning for eternity. This series just really has a way with words.
Enjoy your time with Davey.